Hey, Eric Giroux with the Dealer Socket Product Development Team, back with another Engine 6 how-to video. Today we're going to look at how to build a page. It's fun to fiddle around in Builder, but sometimes you just got to start from scratch and let those creative juices flow. So how to get started? Let's just get into it. Okay, so let's say you're in Builder, you've accessed the site that you want, and you're ready to build a page. So the first thing you're going to do is go Add Page. And from here I can start with a blank page, or if you've created templates or would like to access templates that we've created for you, you can find them in the categories. I've got a sweet content page template here, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to start anew. So I'm going to do a blank page, and I'm going to name this page, we're going to do a remote test drive page. So I'm going to do that and hit create page. And you can see that this is in unlinked pages, which means that it's not accessible from the menu. It just means that it's on the site and I could link to it. So I could link from another page to this page, or I could always move it into the menu at a later time just by dragging it up into the menu in the menu manager. So we've got a completely blank page, save the header and footer. We've got all this content to fill. So just for fun, I'm going to pretend like this dealership offers at-home delivery or at-work delivery test drives. So let's just get started by adding some text to the page. And you can find modules in these categories. You can search through all of them. There's lots of them. We're always adding new ones, so it's fun to dig through them and kind of fiddle around. But you can find good ones here in popular. Of course, that's where you'll find a paragraph module. So I'll add some text to the page, and I'll center this text, and I'm going to say test drive from anywhere, and I'm going to make this an H1. Cool. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do something even cooler. So that's how you would add text, but check out this feature. I'm going to get rid of this text module, and I'm going to add the animated headline. I really like this module because it's just fun, and it's really easy. You have a fixed part of the message and a flex part, and you can add multiple flex parts. So I'm going to say test drive from home, work, anywhere. And now you can see my little animation shows, test drive from home, work, anywhere. Pretty sweet. I can change the type of animation here. Test drive from home, it does a little flipsy-do. That looks pretty sweet. And let's make it a little more fast-paced. We'll do every 2 seconds. And I'm going to center this guy. And there you go. Now, if I wanted to edit the styles of this, I could come in here and look at all these options, all these beautiful options for how big I want my font to be. I can do anything, change colors so that the fixed part is bold and the flex part is, purple, whatever you want to do. So let's actually do that. I'll do the flex part, we'll do one of the site colors of red. Ooh, look at that. Cool. So I've got some text on there, but it looks pretty plain. I want to throw that over an image. So you see the module, and then every time you add a module to a page, it's going to be created in a new container, or it will create a new container around it, or you can add it to an existing container. So this is the first one on the page, so it created a new container. I'm going to hit this settings button, and I'm going to come in here, and I want to add a background image. So I'm going to come into the background, and I'm going to do add an image, and that's going to give you Media Manager. And I'm going to upload an image that I created. Red background. Bam. And that looks pretty cool. Not. What we need to do is ensure that it is visible. The whole image is visible. It kind of covers the whole screen. So what I'm going to do is go position bottom bottom, because the bottom of this, or center bottom, the bottom of this image is cool because it's got this little slash through it. I don't want it to repeat, so I'm going to do no repeat. And then I'm going to make the size cover, and that's going to cover the whole container. Now the container width I see is not as wide as I want this to be the whole width of my screen. So I want the width of the container not to fit to the content, but to fit to the browser. And I also want to see more of this. So I need to create some more space in my container so that I can see more of that container background image. So I'm going to do that by adding some spacer modules. This is kind of the fun modules. You just go here, spacer, and I'm just going to add some spacer. Ignore spacer on mobile, yes or no. This is handy if you want to create space for larger devices but don't want to show that space on smaller devices. So I'll say no, don't ignore it, because I want that same space to be available when I am looking on mobile. So I'll say no, and now I'm going to duplicate that spacer and bring it below here. And I'm going to enlarge my spacer modules. So now I've got this cool background image. And I realize, oh, that red doesn't look good on that red background. What am I going to do? Go into my Styles tab, change this to white. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so now I've got a pretty sweet little, fancy call to action and value statement, right? So this is the bottom of my container, and now I'm going to add more content to the page. So first I'm going to go to modules, and I'm going to look for one that I know is going to be good for this page called Numerical Info. And this is a pretty cool module because it makes it really easy to add kind of numbers to a page. So it comes pre-populated with bubbles that have values. So if I say, total vehicles in inventory, I add that. And there's only 6 vehicles in stock at this particular dealership, so it's showing 6. But you can do whatever you want with these bubbles, and you can create custom ones. I'm going to use these for like a 1, 2, 3 kind of step thing. So I'm going to delete these bubbles and add some custom ones. And I'm going to say step 1. I'm going to say find a vehicle. And then you see that I can add a button to this. And I will add a button. And I will make it say, view or browse vehicles. Boom. So we've got step 1, browse vehicles. I'll collapse that custom button, add another one. Step 2 will be, request, fill out the form. Fill out the form below. Okay, we don't need a button there because we're going to put a form below this. And we'll do step 3, check your email for confirmation. Simple as 1, 2, 3. And Bam. So now I've got these, you know, 1, 2, 3. How to test drive from home or work or whatever. Maybe I would want to add some text, probably to explain what the heck is going on. So I'm going to come in here and add paragraph and add it above this, and I'll add some text that says, like, you know, here at our dealership, we allow our awesome customers to test drive vehicles of interest conveniently from the comfort of their home or work. Blah, 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 right? I can change the font size, whatever you want to do. But just for, yeah, format of the page, that looks pretty good. Now I want to add the form, because it says fill out the form below. If I find a vehicle, then I need to fill out a form so that I can, you know, see if the test drive is available for me. So I'm going to come in here and go to form, and really you can just kind of grab any form. Now we already have a scheduled test drive form, so I know that this is going to have some of the fields that I need. So I'm going to use this one as a kind of a starter kit for myself, but I know that I'm going to make some edits. So the first thing I'll want to do is kind of double click into my form and see that I've got a form title and a form subject. So I'm going to do schedule a delivery or a remote test drive, so that I know that somebody's requesting to have a vehicle delivered from them, and then we'll remote test drive request. And what's cool about the form builder in Builder is that you can adjust your routing right here. So I can add a recipient. I can see how many pages this form template is on. So I can use a contact us form on multiple pages, and it's really easy for me to see which pages that form is on. If I make global changes to that template, I can just come into this info tab and see how many pages are affected. There's also more complex lead routing that we can get into later, but just for now, just know that you can go to this routing tab and add a recipient. So from here, I know that I need to do some definite editing to this form. So I'm going to see all the different fields that are available in the form builder. And I don't like full name. I want to do first and last. That'll parse into my CRM a little better. So I'm going to bring in first and last name. Don't need phone number before last. I'll bring first and last together. Phone, let's not make that required. So I'm going to double click phone, and I see it's required. I'm going to say no. And you can see I can do this with each field. I'm just kind of like dragging them around here. And let's do, so that's kind of your basic info. And then let's do what is called a field set, which allows you to have a group of fields together so that you can add kind of a title. So like right here, we've got our first and last name, email, and phone. And now in this next field set, I'm going to do vehicle information, or better yet, I'll do, yeah, let's do vehicle info. So we'll do year, make, and model. So this will just, when the customer fills this out, we'll know which vehicle it is that they're interested in. We could even do a basic just single text line for a stock number or something like that. We could have a tooltip that tells people where to find the stock number, all that. But just for the purposes of this, we'll keep it pretty simple. So we'll go year, make, model. And notice that when I double click the field set, I can change this to, what vehicle would you like to test drive. And now this field set has this nice label here. Now, obviously, if they want a vehicle delivered to them, we're going to need to know their address. So I'm going to drag in some contact fields like address, city, state, and zip code. Okay, so we'll do that. So we got first, last, email, phone, street address, city, state, zip. Cool. And then what vehicle do you want to test drive? And then, you know, we'll do, let's see, when would you like it? You know, when do you want to test drive it? So to add a field set, I'm going to get rid of this, go into here, add a field set, and call it when would you like to test drive it? Boom. Add some fields, and here's where we'll do the schedule calendar. So I'll just drop schedule calendar, so date and time, good to go. So of course you can go in, and if, like I said, if you wanted to add, let's just do that real quick, a stock number. So I'm going to do just a single line of text and add it here to this field set. Which vehicle do you want to test drive? And I'm going to do it right next to model, and that way I can go year, make, and it's a little more compact. And I'm going to double click this and call this vehicle stock number. And you can also do field help. That just adds a tooltip. To find the stock number of a vehicle, you know, look for it on the vehicle detail page or something like that, right? And now you'll see that it has a little question mark. And so on the front end of the site, there will be a tooltip that the user will see. And that's it. So that, I mean, that's basically the form, right? I could, of course, add, you know, a label at the top, or, you know, more tooltips, different field set labels, all of that. But this is, you know, the gist for the purposes of you know, this build a page presentation. So I'm going to hit apply and exit. Now this is a cool prompt. You'll see it says, hey, you're attempting to edit a form template. Remember, we grabbed this template from the form gallery, right? Which means that that form might exist on other pages. And we just made a lot of revisions. So if we save those changes, we have two options. We can update the existing template, and that means that whatever we just changed to this form will update the form across all other pages where the template is being used, right? Whereas if I save it as a new template, it's going to keep the old form the way that it was and not affect any of the other pages that currently house the form, and instead create a new one, and with the new title that we gave it, which is schedule a remote test drive. So that's what I want to do. So I'm going to save a new template with a new name and hit apply. Now, of course, if we were to really build out this page, we would want more information about, hey, we can't offer test drive delivery to just anybody. Maybe you wanted to fill out a credit app. Maybe the vehicle has to be over a certain cost, whatever. This is just an exercise. But before I you know, am totally done, the best practice, the thing I can't stress enough with Builder and creating content, is to make sure that you're polishing up your page a little bit and you're previewing across all devices. So here, the first thing I want to do is I just add a little bit of padding to this form. So I'm going to just real quick throw in some padding, left and right, about 50 pixels, whatever, you know. We're painting with broad strokes here, and just cleans it up a little bit. I'm going to hit save. And then most importantly, I need to go to mobile and see how my site looks from, you know, on another device. So I see this is looking a bit funky. So I need to double click this and adjust some styles. I might want to bring the font size for the fixed part, or it looks like that flexible part's a little big. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit to match the same size as the other one. And now when I close out of there, I should see that update. Maybe when I save and publish. A lot of times, you know, we try to mimic what you see on the front end, but oftentimes there will be tiny little incongruencies when you're doing the preview. But just save and publish, check it out on your phone, check it out on the front end, and a lot of times some of this little stuff you don't need to worry about as much. So we'll make sure to check that out. But we just want to make sure there's no like crazy overlapping content, that this looks pretty clean and nothing seems broken. But that looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. Now, if I were really doing my due diligence, I would go through each device and really check the padding. Like, I don't like that this text is right up at the top, so I would add a little bit of padding to the top. But this is just kind of what you do when you create a page template for the first time. You want to go through and make sure you do this just right, so that when you're replicating this page, it has all of those nice little touches that you made. Now here, I missed my little slant at the bottom, so I'm going to go into the container styles, and I want to come to the background image, and I see that because this is a module-specific style, remember I changed it to bottom center? It was bottom, it was left center here, and so I'll close out of that, shrink the spacer up a little bit, or maybe a little bigger. There we go. Boom. Let's publish. And then when I hit preview, it's going to show me my page. And here we go. Now, I don't like how this red kind of mismatches this red, so I might swap out the image after I match the colors a little bit better. But you can see how I created a really nice page with a custom form and, you know, pretty simple. I made a nice page. So then I would, of course, preview this page across devices. So I would inspect it, and I would look at my devices and make sure everything is good. And the last thing I will mention is make sure you do test on your phone. Although the browser will give you a nice preview, you really don't know how it looks on a phone until you check it across devices. So although there's lots of other little polishings and content I would add to this page to make it look exactly how I'd like, you get the gist of how easy it is to create great looking pages that scale well across devices, are super fast, very easily without using any code in Engine 6. And if you go back to Builder, you'll see in the desktop view that this remote test drive page is just sitting in unlinked pages. And if I really wanted to, I could go to you know, about or service, whatever I want to do, and drag this into the menu, and that would then make it available to see when the user is on the front end of the site and is trying to access content. Now, if I really like this page, again, you can save it as a template by clicking there. But I think that's it for now. Yeah, fiddle around with adding modules and finding cool stuff that we have available to make it very easy for you to create nice looking pages, and just have at it, get creative, have fun, make sure you're testing across devices, and hopefully that will allow you to do some really cool stuff with Engine 6. Thanks for watching.